Mr. Rebel, you follow a lot of the cases, the funding cases around the country, and there have been some major ones in the last year that have been knocked down. So Texas, speaking specifically to Texas and Connecticut, but there are some districts across the country that are filing new lawsuits against their state for funding. Do you think there is something fundamentally flawed about how funding cases are being filed, considering some of the major losses in recent years?
Well, there have also been major victories. This isn't a place to get into that, but in Kansas and Washington, in a number of states, the state courts keep coming forward. But, and you're quite right, I've worked for years on many of these cases in New York and in other states. And we did what we could. The Supreme Court said go to the state courts. Nationally, we won 60% of the cases. But we've lost 40%, including here in Rhode Island. And there's something wrong here from a citizenship point of view. Why is it kids in New York right now, or kids in the state of Washington, get a lot more spent on their education because those Supreme Courts in those states were willing to declare there is a right to an adequate education, and politically people were able to follow up on that. But in a state like Illinois or a state like Rhode Island, there have been repeated attempts to get the state courts to move, and they won't. So we need equality throughout the United States, not for 60% where cases may succeed, and even in the 60% where these local fiscal equity and adequacy cases have succeeded, some of the remedies have been effective, some of them haven't, some of the legislatures have responded well, some haven't. It's time, after 45 years, we've had this laboratory of the states, you might say, as Justice Brandeis put it. We've had all these legal theories, all these ways of approaching adequate education in the different states. We've learned a lot. I think the Supreme Court can learn a lot from that experience. But it's time to go back to first principles and say, yes, there is a need for a declaration that there's a fundamental right to education nationally for all kids in the United States. So that's what this case is about, and that's why I thought it was important to bring the federal case, and that's why the support that we've gotten from Steve and Sam and Jen and so many other people in Rhode Island has been so important, and the fact that it's been so frustrating for the lawyers, for the parents, for the students in Rhode Island to be living in a state where repeatedly the state Supreme Court is not responsive, really set the stage for saying we've got to bring a federal case here.